Hello? Paul, can you hear me? Oh, oh, there we go.
Hey, Hayden. Not sure what happened there. We just kind of
Not sure.
ducked out.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying you're trying to make her sound
Hyperactive.
hyperactive. Yeah, because that's the first thing I thought was it makes sense to me if if what you're saying is she's restless or
Mhm.
she's chomping at the bit. She can't handle doing like because she sounds interested. So it didn't make sense to me that she was bored. But if this is the key operative, she's stir crazy. That would seem to be, oh, that's maybe the thing that unlocks it. So it's not that she's bored, it's that she's restless. She has a limit to how much stuff she can learn.
Well,
And she
not even
wants to,
that. It's more like she just needs to move around.
yeah.
You know,
So that might,
later on, Julius is going to quiz her while she's running through her course, and she does better than when she's sitting down.
that makes sense. Yeah. So that would be one suggestion I might make because there's two reasons it didn't seem to make sense to me that she would be bored. Number one, she says it's interesting at least three times. But more importantly, anybody reading this can think, even if it's boring, it doesn't matter because it's so obviously it's first of all, it sounds interesting, doesn't sound boring, but number two, it's so obviously important to know this stuff that bored doesn't seem to be the right. So that would be my only suggestion is more in alignment with your suggestion that she's restless and needs to, get moving kind of thing like that.
Mhm.
And then this gauntlet comes in. This is great. The only other thing too with Ramona in the background, I'm just going to cut right to the chase. Um, Lots of stuff working for this. The style is great. The action is great. It's very clear what happens relationship wise. And this is often what happens with not, no writer in particular, certainly not just you, is that when an action scene is being written, sometimes writers forget that there's a relationship at play. So you've been carefully building this certain kind of relationship between them, whatever that is, up until the end of the last book. And then she kind of comes across, she's been so interesting and I respect her and I like her, and she seems to be someone who would be, like when we see her at the hospital, it's like she seems active, and she also seems like somebody who's willing to be a team player. But the relationship, so you got Julius being kind of nothing, but I mean, it's tough love and it's trying to get her prepared, but he's generally being really great. You're doing great. Julius cheered her on. He's really trying to be helpful. And she's like, suck it, Julius. And she's just like kind of fighting him the whole way. And
Okay, so I
and
should make Julius seem more of a sadistic person to make it.
or go the other way and have them talk about like because what it's feeling like is like the relationship. I'll come right back down to it. My suggestion would be between the two of them, my suggestion would be to like take some time to think about how you want their relationship to evolve over time. Where do you want them to be kind of by the end of the chapter? I definitely don't think they need to be getting along every chapter, but it also seems like sometimes she's just being a dick just to be a dick. Like she comes across as just kind of a spoiled brat in this chapter. And I'm like, what's up your ass? Because Julius is like trying really hard, firmly, but trying to get you. So my
Well,
suggestion would
yeah.
be not to ramp him up because we've seen that a million times. We've seen them go at each other. um, and at this point in the story, I'm like, but why would they be going at each other here? I mean, they're getting ready for like these are like the Avengers getting ready to fight Thanos, and they're just calling each other names, kind of thing like that is how it's feeling.
Hmm.
You could dial him up, but my suggestion
I
is
think I'm going to dial him up because one of the big things about Julius is that one of the things he's pissed at is that so many new BPA agents just
mm,
suck, in his opinion. Like they die because they they basically aren't like full on Marines,
yeah,
and so for him, he's not going to pull any punches at this. He's going to put her through the hardest challenges he can, and sink or swim. That's up to her.
yeah. Yeah, like, and that might be a way. So that's one route you can go where you dial him up, and now they're at each other's throats. The risk that could be fun. The risk that potentially, from my point of view, you run is that we've seen that so many times between them that it's starting to get a bit tired. Whereas if the point is that he's trying to get her ready to go into firm and like and maybe more of a dramatic like kind of thing rather than sort of the banter back and forth, and maybe it's that it's a series of challenges where he keeps thinking he's got her with some challenge and maybe she struggles and then she nails it. Like maybe it's more of a chapter where he thinks he's going to stump her, but she's learning quicker than she should, or she's falling behind and he gives her shit like how do you think you're going to be ready to face these big forces, she can be like, look, I never asked for this. Okay. Like I never, I'm just trying to, like, and maybe she's being polite and just like trying to go along with it for a couple of minutes, and maybe it flips where he's genuinely, it's not that he's being a dick, but that he's being too hard on her, despite the fact that she's working really hard. And there's this scene ends with them like being at odds with each other, like wondering, oh geez, are these guys going to be able to work together? We've seen that they can, but will they continue to be able to? So yeah, give that a shot. Give it a shot where he's, I would love to
I
see that.
think I want to push Julius being more of a dick in this one, and then I can have Remy reveal the reasons why. Like, just give her the list of Julius's dead partners, because that will be a long list.
That could
Like,
be cool. That could be cool. Like, look, I'm just doing this for your own good. Like he's thinking this is what it takes, because this is how he's trained every other person that he's ever worked with. He thinks, and maybe she reads in the riot act. She says, look, you want to get maybe this is what you did with your last guys. Hey, here's an idea, Julius. Maybe the reason they all died is because you couldn't be a human being with them. You ever thought about that? Oh, it couldn't be Julius's fault. Maybe imagine how that would make him feel if
he'd
in
blow her off.
series.
He'd blow
Yeah.
her off.
Oh, would he? Hmm. So he has no feelings about that. He's just
No, he
Cal.
does, but he'd blow her off because the alternative would just be shooting her.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, or maybe this is the first, because what I'm really pointing at is I would love for her to chat. He thinks she's going to be like every other. She's super and everything. She's great, better than a lot of the previous recruits, but she's going to die anyway. And my thought might be, hey Julius, maybe if you handle your recruits a little different, they wouldn't all die. And my suggestion would be, don't let him blow it. He would just blow her off. Maybe he would with other people. My suggestion is, this is what will surprise the reader. Show him not just easily being able to blow it off, like mad at her and just whatever. Like she's hit a nerve. In other words,
Yeah,
and you
I
might say,
I
"Oh,
don't mean blow it off as in like not care. I mean blow it off as just say I'm done. Fine, do it your way.
perfect.
Live or
That works
die,
for
I
me."
don't care.
Yeah, I love that. That really works. Otherwise, this chapter is solid. It was just more to do with the board thing and the nature of their relationship and how you want
Okay, so
this training to go.
change the first half to really more stir crazy, hyperactive.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
second
And it's
part, I really
awesome.
need to push Julius as like, being a bit of an ass about this.
An ass with a reason for being an ass in his mind. Like I can see it, to me, I wouldn't want to just see him be a dick again, because I've seen that multiple chapters. I want to see a guy who really thinks this is what it takes to
A
get
little more
his,
drill sergeant Dick then.
yeah. And her fighting back, like her maybe going along with that for a while, and then he pushes her just a little too far in the gauntlet. Harder, harder, harder. And she goes, Jesus, man, I'm doing the best I can. What the hell's your problem? You think this is why, maybe this is why you keep losing recruits. Fuck you, and
I
walks away.
wouldn't
And
do that until later on, so that way that
okay,
can be a good B story.
love that. That sounds good. Now at this point you're in chapter two?
Two, three
Yeah.
ish, if you add the prologue. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you could do it later. You could do it. Yeah, it depends on when you want that to happen. When do you want them to be divided? It could be fun if it right near the beginning they're already at odds, but your call. I mean, I like where your head's at. This is great.
I'd like it somewhere just before the climax. Like, that way Ramona's on her own when she's dealing with the drug lords, and she has to fall back on Julius's training to a certain extent. So,
Okay.
and then Julius is faced with losing another partner and has to rush to save her. Like,
Yeah.
kind of force a mutual understanding that, yeah, Julius is being a bit of a dick, but yeah, he's also right.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. No, another solid chapter hidden. I think again, stylistically, what you're doing there at the beginning is really fun to read.
Yeah,
Really
I'm not sure if I'll send you this next week. Okay, because right now what I'm mostly I've since I sent you this, I've mostly actually been working on Vampires in Virginia, which is really just basically everything up until Daphne in the first book. And I've made a few changes to Ramona in particular. Mostly, instead of just being a high schooler that was born really weak, she's just out of high school, trying to live her life, and life's just really crappy. So she's looking for excitement, she's looking for interest, and then the whole Matthias thing happens.
Okay.
Yeah, basically the same story. It's just little more pushed out. So do we want to keep on going with Brewing Bad, or should we go back? I'm not sure if we really need to go back for Vampire in Virginia because it's mostly already written.
Okay. Yeah. Well, do you want me to just hold off? I guess you'll send me what you send me, and
Yeah,
I'll get
I'll
to it.
I'll just do some more Brewing Bads. When are we
Okay.
meeting? When do you want to meet next? We got 2, 3. How much time do we have banked? I've got I've got 3 dates. I think count as banked.
Yeah, you've got to see here. What's today?
Uh,
Today's the 7th.
yeah.
So yeah, I think you're at now you've paid for the entire month of, keep in mind you've already paid for September,
Okay.
plus you have night sessions.
Hmm.
So I think you're at somewhere around 7 if you want them, and we can use all of them, or
Oh,
we can
I
hold
have no
on to
problem using
summer.
one. Don't get me
Okay.
wrong. Like as soon as I fix my PWD, which is taking for freaking ever, we'll come back. But right now,
Yeah,
it's just you're technically eating like half of that right now. So
totally fair. Yeah. No, no offense ever. No
yeah.
offense taken at all. So I'm happy to help you any way they can. So yeah, I'll send you these notes. And in terms of next week, what works is Monday night, the 11th, still good for you?
Um,
Or is
yeah,
another time better?
yeah. I think that'll work fine. Like the timing is
Okay.
not Monday nights at 5 p.m. Isn't problematic. The most problematic thing about tonight is that I've only got about 3 days to do all this. So
Totally
let's see
understand
where it
that. Yeah.
goes. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I'll plan to see you on is 9 o'clock, or sorry, it's 9 o'clock. Is 5 o'clock still good for you?
No problem whatsoever. No problem whatsoever.
Okay, best of luck, Hayden. I'll send these notes to you right away.
And remember, if I don't send you anything about Brewing Bad, it'll probably just be Vampires in Virginia, and it's basically just the same thing as we've already done, except it's better spaced out so that it's its own unique story and not so quite so rushed. Because the first time around, we kind of just forced the issue, for lack of a better word. Yeah. Now,
Sounds good. Yeah,
now
I'll wait to see it.
Julius probably isn't now. Julius isn't going to show up until like at least chapter 5. It's all focused on Ramona.
Sounds good.
Yep. Okay. See you next week, Paul.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Bye bye.